Now, Bree and Devontae, just break up already. Just break up already. Y'all were dragging this relationship, causing all types of drama between the girls. Just break up already, please. Hey you guys, I am back with another YouTube video, and today we are going to be talking about this Love is Blind reunion. Just my thoughts on this whole Airbnb situation. My thoughts on just Devontae having a baby on the way. Brittany's father. Then you had Ashley and Alex. You had Alex gaslighting Nick and Vanessa Lachey at the reunion. Even just the former cast, reactions. I love that Cameron was in the crowd. I really love that Cameron came. But overall, this was the best. This was the second best Love is Blind reunion in Love is Blind history, okay? This was a really good reunion compared to last reunions, compared to last season. See, last season, I slept through the Love is Blind reunion, but this season, I feel like this season really just took the cake. This was a good reunion. I actually was skipping back and seeing what happened. I really was intrigued. I almost did fall asleep now during this reunion, but I will say that for the most part I really was intrigued. Even just Jess announcing her new man, which is Harmano, which is somebody in not the main cast, but someone that didn't find love in the pods, and now she's finding love with him. I love that for her. I love how Nick Lachey and Vanessa, they finally actually held men to the fire this season. They held Chris down at the reunion. They made him take accountability. And also, one thing, I do want to start a members only, but sometime in a few months or so, I do want to start members only content. But anyways, other than that, I would say this was a really good reunion, and let's get into it. Now, the first thing that I want to talk about is we're going to just talk about Christine and Victor. Now, when it comes to Christine and Victor, I have no notes. They are a beautiful couple. I love how they are I love how they're just so into each other. I really just love how they were the best couple. I do not I still don't like how Netflix still didn't show them. I just think that was rude. I feel that was just disrespectful that Netflix did not show Christine and Victor, on Netflix in general. Mind you, this season was MAGA, so it's just why not show them? Because I feel they were one of the diverse couples of this season. What else? I'm also very shocked how even though this season was big on MAGA, whatever that, at least we also still had people of color speaking up as well. It was a good mix of people of color compared to last season. But with Christine and Victor, they're beautiful. I mean, I really hope they just take it far with their marriage. And I got no notes. Now, I did send me and Vic, we have been chatting, and I did send him an email about about me interviewing him. Now, I don't know if he's gonna get back to me. If he doesn't, that is okay, but if he does, he will be speaking. Now, I don't know how I'm gonna figure that out because I do not have a computer right now, but I do know that I can make something work. So I am hoping to maybe interview Victor and even maybe Christine too. I know she saw my message on IG, but yeah. Okay, now let's get into the real juice. Let's get into the actual tea of it all. First up, I want to talk about Nick finally clocking Chris. Him clocking Chris Colleen and his raggedy behind, well, not Chris Colleen, but Nick clocking Chris, the one that was with Jess, okay? he most definitely ate. I just gotta say that. He really ate. Like, I really just love how he was just like, he meant like the fact that Nick called out Chris and was like, Chris managed to piss everybody off on stage. Like, Chris really did manage to piss the whole cast off. I just feel like that this Love is Blind season is simply an example of like how like Chris actually got his behind whooped, okay? And honestly, just blessings for Jess. Like, I really love that she's with Harmano now. I really hope that, you know, this relationship does last. I'm really hoping for it to last. But honestly, I really hope that she just gets more and more blessings her way. You know, they are just both hot doctors. I really love that they're gonna make a great family, and I do have faith in Dr. Harmano and what was her name, and Jess. I really have faith in Jess, especially. I just know that like Jess was just so confident. She really kept it classy. I loved how everybody was eating Chris at the reunion and basically calling Chris like, you know, garbage, calling Chris like, you know, a bad human. I really love how everybody was just eating Chris up, and I honestly enjoyed every second of it. I enjoyed every second of it. And then Chris was on stage looking so embarrassed. Now, a part of me did want to feel bad for him because I know how it feels like, you know, to be called out and just be embarrassed like that. My thing is, I feel like that Chris was not prepared. Chris was not prepared for Love is Blind, because when you're a villain on Love is Blind, sometimes you have to prepare yourself for getting called out and for getting the lower hand of like, you know, people's favoritism. You have to like, you know, sometimes you have to face embarrassment. And I feel like that Chris could not take the embarrassment when, you know, Nick Lachey was like, you know, blatantly calling him out, even like, you know, with the therapist comment. And then like Vanessa tried to like, you know, play it off and be nice and be like, oh, you know, I hope that your journey grows, you know, when it comes to when it comes to like, you know, you being a better person. Chris really did in fact lie. Chris is a big liar, because when, you know, Vanessa was even, you know, asking like, you know, asking him like, you know, the minute that, you know, you stepped into Jess's home, were you like, you kind of dipped for like a few days. And, you know, Jess even called Chris out, like, you know, some people have deep insecurities, which I feel like is so true for a fact. People, in fact, do have deep insecurities. And I honestly just feel like that it was honestly great for Chris to be called out. And I feel like Chris lied on stage because he was saying like, you know, oh, like, you know, I was just emotionally immature. You were not emotionally immature. You were just insecure about Jessica's home, about how like, you know, she had this amazing home. And like, you were basically in your head like, how dare a doctor that doesn't work out as much as me, how dare she have a good home like this? That was going on in Chris's head. And so I feel like Chris was just straight up lying, like when he was like, oh, I'm emotionally immature. He is not emotionally immature. I feel like that Chris still couldn't tell the truth on stage. I feel like Chris still did not take any accountability, and I feel like that Chris just deserves no grace. And honestly, he deserves to just hide from the world. Now he did seem very like upset. Like, he really did seem extremely upset. You know, I know that he is not proud of his actions. However, he still lied about his intentions with Jess. Basically, like, he still lied about the fact, like, you know, that when he came into Jessica's house, you know, like, he still didn't tell any truth. And I feel like that this whole season, Chris was just very much insecure. Why is somebody calling me? I don't have time right now. But yeah, I feel like this whole season, like, Chris was just very much insecure. He was just acting out. And then also you had, I believe, Vanessa calling out, asking Jess, like, you know, how did you feel about the girls, you know, supporting Chris and entertaining Chris, which was Bree, Ashley, and Priyanka. And, Jess, she did cry, and, she was just like, she was like, she cried, and she was like, I would have moved differently if I was those girls. She was like, I would have just moved differently. And then she says like, but she's still really close with those girls. I honestly have to give a little bit of heat to Priyanka, Ashley, and Bree, because it's just like, I feel like if I was those girls too, I would not be giving Chris any type of energy. Like, that is not my man. Like, that is truly not like I'm not about to support you, because it's like, if you do something to my friend, well, how could I support you? Like, I feel like that Priyanka, Bree, and Ashley, they did break girl code in that moment on that scene. And I really maybe do hope that Jess does learn that, like, those girls really did break her heart. Like, those girls really did break her heart. And just like keep it pushing. And honestly, now, I don't think that those girls are a bad person. I don't think now Bree, which we're going to get into, I feel like that Bree deserved more heat. She deserved to be called out more. I feel like that they let Bree off too easily. But yeah, honestly, with those girls entertaining Chris, that was just so wrong. I would have moved differently too, but I'm so glad that Chris got called out. Now, let's move on to Bree and Connor. My thing about Bree and Connor is just like, I love how, they're they're still going strong. I really love that for them. I feel like, they're a great couple for now. I don't know if it's going to last long term though, because we have had seasons in the past where couples have dated post show, because and they didn't couples have dated, continue to date without getting married on the show, and the relationship just fall apart. However, Sarah and Joey from season 8 of Love is Blind, they are still going strong, and they were continuing dating post show too. So I do have faith in Bree and Connor for now, but when it comes to Bree, her entertaining Chris, I feel like that Bree will always be that mean girl. Bree will always be a mean girl. I feel like they just let Bree off too easily. I don't remember a lot of moments where, Nick and Vanessa Lachey held Bree accountable when it came to her entertaining Chris. And then for Bree to even also feel a type of way by Chris, I honestly just feel like that Bree, at least she should take some, I think Bree took no accountability with the way how she entertained Chris. And it's just so we're not going to talk about, and this was still a good reunion, but we're not going to talk about the fact that Bree was still, trying to give Chris attention, and how that hurt Jess. Now, I wonder if Bree and Jessica are still friends, but I didn't like that on Bree's end either. And I'm also kind of shocked that Connor wasn't upset about Bree entertaining Chris too. He was just oh, it's all fine. It's all good. It's all fine. But I'm also just no, I feel like you should hold Bree accountable too, because it's Bree, honestly, it was at one point, it was giving that she regretted her decision with Connor. And I feel like till this day, she still doesn't feel so sure of Connor. She still doesn't feel so sure of choosing Connor. And I also do feel like that there's going to be some moment where she does break up with Connor, and the relationship is going to be mostly Bree's fault. It's going to most definitely be Bree's fault. But I do not see, now I do support Bree and Connor for now. I just don't know if I could trust that Bree will be a good woman or a good girlfriend to Connor. I just don't know that yet. I don't know if Bree is really good for Connor. I feel like that Connor deserves a better woman too. I feel like Connor deserves better. He really does deserve better. I don't know. Something about Bree is still off. Bree, I feel like they just let Bree off too easily. I don't know. Bree didn't take enough accountability at the reunion, so that didn't really sit right with me. So yeah. Okay, now let's go and talk about this whole Airbnb situation. Now, I feel like in real life, like in general, there has always been situations with Airbnbs. Like, if y'all just go on YouTube, y'all will see stories about, like, Airbnbs, or even TikTok. Like, there'll be some issues with, like, girls trips and Airbnbs. Now, with this whole Airbnb situation, I feel like that either this drama was staged, or like this really happened. Now, I know that people are calling, like, Priyanka, Ashley, and Bree basically mean girls for, like, not telling Brittany about, like, Devontae, like, staying, at Priyanka's Airbnb for a night. I don't know. And Devontae not getting his own Airbnb right away. Now, my thing is, it's just that this whole situation is Bree and Devontae's fault. When it comes to the Airbnb situation, it's giving that a relationship got in the way of a friendship of, like, these girls. And honestly, Devontae is a big liar. Devontae is a really big liar, because it's just like, sir, why didn't you just tell the girls the truth? Had you just put some honesty in your name, you would have been able to, like, at least get some more grace from Brittany, from Brittany's father, from the girls. But this whole if Brittany and Devontae were already broken up, this whole Airbnb situation would have not been an issue. I feel like that Brittany and Devontae, they're the type of people that are going to drag a relationship out and cause mess with their friends. Like, they're the type of people that will just drag a relationship out when the signs are there and people are telling them to break up. I feel like that Brittany should have been broken up with Devontae, because it's just like, why is Brittany still with Devontae like 2 weeks post the show? I don't understand that, because it's just like the moment, like, okay, I get it. Like, she wanted to, like, date post show, but it's just like, if you like, and then Devontae lied to Brittany and was like, telling Brittany, like, oh, this is a work trip. Like, I gotta go on a work trip. With the whole work trip, like, him even lying about that, people will lie about work trip situations all the time. I feel like that if your partner lies, or like if your girlfriend, your boyfriend, or your partner, your fiance, your wife even lies about going on a work trip, and you find out that months later they were, like, doing something else, it's just time to, like, call it quits, because they could be lying about so much other stuff. They could be cheating. They could be doing all types of craziness. But I feel like that Brittany should have been broken up with Devontae, because Devontae's face was giving like he did not care for Brittany. And it's just like, I honestly can't even feel sorry for Brittany. Yes, Brittany is beautiful, but I feel like that Brittany did too much this reunion by just talking to the girls like that. And I'm just like, if you would have just broken up with him and just chose somebody better. And I feel like that Brittany wants to date so bad. She wants to be married so bad. Well, if you want to be married so bad, why don't you just leave Devontae and choose a better man, upgrade better? Like, I feel like that people who are so desperate for marriage, they never choose the right men. And that is exactly who Brittany is. Like, she never, she knew, and part of me feels like that, Brittany, she stayed on the show for screen time. And she just can't admit that, she was extremely desperate. And I feel like she wanted people to give her that courtesy and be like, oh my God, we are so sorry, Brittany. That man just led you on. I feel like that Brittany needs to take some accountability too, because she also dragged it too. And it's just girl, you could have just broken up with Devontae. Had you just broken up with Devontae, this whole Airbnb situation would have not been an issue for Priyanka, for Ashley, for Bree. And you even had Priyanka being yeah, we're really not close. We're not close. Priyanka was really just spilling so much tea. And it's Priyanka was part of the show this season, but she was not part of the show. It was she was part of the main cast, but she wasn't part of the main cast. And I'm just why wasn't Priyanka sitting at the main stage with all of those girls to tell the tea, because it was seeming like Priyanka had so much tea to tell, and probably even so much more tea to tell. But yeah, like, Priyanka was explaining everything about the situation. I mean, her just speaking in the audience was just giving us so much tea. But also, I'm also just like, Devontae, like, you couldn't get your own place. You couldn't get your own Airbnb. And also, I'm like, why was Devontae, and also, I don't understand why Brittany, like, had an issue. Like, why, or no. Why couldn't Devontae just be honest and would have been like, oh, I'm gonna be hanging out with some girls. I'm gonna be like, going, to this Airbnb with some girls. And also, why couldn't he figure out the money to get his own Airbnb? Because I feel like that Priyanka did say that, like, she made it clear that everybody, like, that she made it clear that Devontae or everyone had to get, like, their own Airbnb, or like, I think she said at least Devontae had to get his own Airbnb. So it's just like, if Priyanka made that clear, like, why did he show up with like no Airbnb to sleep in, to live in, like, the first night? Like, that, I didn't understand that. And it was like, Devontae was like, oh, I did have my own place, and then he didn't have his own place. So Devontae was doing a lot of lying this reunion. It was almost as if all the men this season were just straight up lying this reunion. Alex, which we're gonna get into Alex and Ashley, Alex, Chris, and Devontae, like, they were the biggest liars of this season, this reunion of in Love is Blind history. Like, besides Tyler lied too his season, which Tyler, the one that abandoned the 3 kids, he was also at the reunion too. That kind of shocked me as well. Like, what was he doing there? Thank God they only showed him one time, but I was just like, is he gonna say something? Like, cause I'm like, Nick and Vanessa Lachey, they didn't even acknowledge him. Like, they didn't even acknowledge him one bit. I think they like said his name once, and that was it. So it's just like, okay, do they know that, like, Tyler is divorced with Ashley, and he was like, he is like not who he says he is. I don't know. But anyways, yeah. I feel like Brie and Priyanka and Ashley, they were just trying to have some fun. They didn't really do anything wrong. Like, they were just trying to like have fun on a like trip. If anything, Devontae should have never been on this trip, and it should have just been a girls' trip. I don't understand why it wasn't a girls' trip. Now, let's get into Brittany's dad clocking Devontae. I really love how Brittany's dad at first was just like, okay, Devontae, are you okay? Now, if I was Devontae, I would have just cried, because I cannot take, like, I would have just cried, because I just cannot like take that much like heat on me, like, as someone who is a people pleaser, like, I would just not have been able to handle just the amount of girls, like, basically knowing that I, like, I messed up, and now I'm looking like a fool. Like, I would have just cried at that point, because I'm just like, no, I'm not okay. Like, I would have been like, I'm not okay. But I really loved how, like, Brittany's father, he was trying to be a good role model to Devontae. And I feel like that Brittany's father, he became Ashley's dad. He really did become Ashley's dad. Also, Devontae, he has a baby on the way, and now he's currently engaged to someone else. That was also news to me. I don't know what he's doing having a baby on the way, because Devontae, you just came out of a relationship where you didn't even like the woman of color. Like, Devontae just came out of a relationship where he didn't even, like, I feel like that Devontae did not do enough work on himself for him to be a father already, for him to already be engaged again. I feel like that Devontae is he's a serial proposer, whatever you call it, but he just proposes to people out of nowhere, I feel like. And also, Brittany should have known. And then also, like, Devontae, he has a whole child. Mind you, Brittany's father's face when Devontae announced that he was like, he was gonna be a father. I feel like that Brittany's dad felt sorry for Devontae. The whole, like, everybody at that reunion was feeling sorry for Devontae. Like, you had Amber feeling sorry for Devontae. And I really love how, like, Amber was a girl's girl to Brittany. That's really good girl's girl energy right there with Amber and Brittany. But the minute that Devontae announced that he was having a kid, the whole crowd was just shocked. Everybody at that reunion was just extremely shocked. Everybody was looking at Devontae like, what is going on? Like, what is happening? But honestly, all I gotta say is just like, God bless Devontae. And yes, let's just move on. Let's talk about Amber and Jordan. Now, Amber and Jordan, honestly, I have a lot to say. I have a lot of words to say when it comes to Amber and Jordan. I really have to put my foot down and blame this on Jordan. Now, Jordan, you are not as bad as Chris. I will say that. Like, I feel like that Jordan... I feel like Jordan was still bad. Jordan was still bad. He was still bad. Right behind Devontae. Because it's like, this guy was just not honest at all. Like, mind you, there was one moment in this season where Amber was like, hey, Devontae, if you're not feeling it, just tell me so that we could be done. I feel like that Amber, Devontae did not, Amber deserved somebody better. Amber deserved a golden retriever. Jordan, okay? Jordan did not want to settle down for marriage. Jordan was trying to still live it up. You know who Jordan reminds me of? Jordan reminds me of, what was that guy's name? The guy who was with Ayana, on Love is Blind season 2, who he cheated and he kept on, and Ayana was complaining about, like, him constantly partying and, constantly, like, going to the bar and coming home at, like, 4 a.m. I forget his name. I forgot his name, but that's who Jordan reminds me of. Jordan, honestly, he was not trying to settle down. He was still in his city life phase. And it's just like, Jordan, why come on Love is Blind when you were never ready to settle for marriage? You were never ready to settle for a marriage. You were never ready to settle for a wife. You didn't even want to move in with Amber. It's like, okay, like, had he at least tried and, like, moved in with Amber and, like, helped take Emma to school? Like, I'm just like, why do you want to, like, literally break your back and drive like 45 minutes to see Amber, which I don't even like driving, but you want to drive 45 minutes to go see Amber, and like try to, like, make it work? This guy, he literally had like no commitment. Jordan had no commitment. Like, Jordan was not committed at all. I feel like that Jordan, even at the altar, like, he knew he was gonna say no, but I feel like that emotionally he felt the need to say yes, and Amber did too. I feel like that Amber and Jordan, they both said yes because it emotionally felt good for them at the moment, so I will give them grace on that. And they didn't want to make it look bad on Emma's behinds, because, like, let's say Jordan did say no. Do you know how shocked Emma would feel? Like, do you know how upset Emma would be? And that's where I go back to Sparkle, Megan, and Jordan, where thank God that Sparkle, Megan, and Jordan did not go to the altar, because if they went to the altar and Megan or Jordan had said no, it would have been embarrassing as well for Jordan's kid as well. Like, if Megan and Jordan would have went to the altar and they had said no, it would have been embarrassing for Jordan's son as well. So it's just like, thank God they didn't make it to the altar. But I feel like that Amber and Jordan, this season, they said yes to save face for Emma. They did not want to make a bad moment for Emma, because Emma is only 7 and that could really hurt the child. Like, literally, like, just seeing your mom get rejected at the altar, that could really hurt a child. So I will give Jordan grace on that. I will give Amber grace on that. But however, overall, I feel like that Jordan was never ready to settle down for Amber. Like, this whole time, Jordan literally, all he wanted to do was go out, party, go to the bar, drink. It wasn't giving marriage material. And I'm just like, how did Jordan get casted on this show? Now, Jordan is a good guy through and through, but he's not a good guy for marriage. I feel like that Jordan is not ready to be anybody's husband just yet, because the marriage lasted 4 months. And yes, I know that Amber did some bad things on her end too now, but at the same time, it's just like, I feel like that Amber just needed somebody to ground her more. See, I'm very biased on this situation, but Jordan, on the other hand, Jordan really, I feel like Jordan never cared. Jordan never cared for Amber. Like, I mean, even at the reunion, like, just the way how he pissed Amber off, and just the way how Amber had to walk off the stage, okay? She literally walked off the stage. She walked off the stage. She had to go take her moment, okay? And then she had to, bring herself back. I feel like this was all Jordan's fault. And like, it was like Jordan really just had nothing to say. He had no care in the world for Amber. This guy had no care in the world at all. He like was very blunt. All he did was just sat there and was just like quiet. Like, he didn't take, I feel like that Jordan, none of the men this season took no accountability, including Alex especially, but Jordan took no accountability this whole season. Like, I mean, just the way how, just like he was just sitting there. He was just sitting there. But I feel bad for Amber. I do feel bad for Amber, because I feel like it was just hard for her. She's already going through a lot. She's now, I think this is Amber's second divorce? This is Amber's second divorce. And like, that's just very sad. It's very sad for the child too, because, Emma is 7 years old. And let's just like, Jordan, like, you didn't want to move into Amber's nice home. See, these men had an option to move into the woman's, like nice houses. Even Chris, like, had Chris really been nicer to Jess, I feel like that Chris could have gotten the chance to really, live with Jess, be in her, nice home and whatnot. But no, Chris wanted to be emotionally immature. Chris wanted to be a child, and it costed him. It really costed him so much to, not being able to live in Jessica's beautiful home. The same with Jordan. I'm just like, Jordan, you did not want to, move out of that house that is just, Jordan's home was very much trash, okay? His home was not in good conditions. I feel like it would have made sense for Jordan to move in with Amber and live with her, rather than, breaking his back or whatever like that, and driving just to, be in a marriage with Amber. I feel like, okay, yes, there were some things that Amber did on her end too. And yes, there are people online being like, okay, yeah, it was both Amber and Jordan's fault. No, I honestly feel like this was Jordan's fault. Jordan knew that he was not really into Jess. Jordan knew he was not into Amber. Sorry, I'm getting confused with the names. But Jordan knew he wasn't into Amber. Like, I feel like just, even like at that party that they were having, like, Amber was like, hey, tell me. And then even when Amber wasn't talking to Jordan for like a day or whatever like that, or like for like hours, I feel like that was just like Amber's sign to be like that was Amber's sign to run. That was her sign to run. I feel like that Jordan was never for Amber, because I feel like this man, like, he was just, Jordan wasn't sure of himself. And also to be fair, like, I feel like that Jordan just didn't really know if he was ready for marriage. I feel like that Jordan didn't really know if he actually wanted a marriage either. And okay, yes, like, their connection was beautiful in the pods, but I feel like that Jordan and Amber, they were good for each other as friends, and that was it. Yes, they are two wholesome people, but they are two wholesome people as friends. And I really hope that Amber really does find someone better. But honestly, if anything, I feel like that Amber and Jordan both need therapy. Like, they both need therapy. Maybe on my title, I should put that everybody needs therapy this season, but especially Amber and Jordan, they both need therapy on their ends before they get into another relationship. But I feel like that Amber and Jordan, they should just spend time working on themselves. And I feel like that Jordan needs to spend years being single before he could actually find someone. But Amber and Jordan, they need to work on themselves go get therapy. And even like with Amber drinking, I feel like that Amber and Jordan both had a drinking problem, because I think even Amber was like, I was wasted. Like, I think Amber even like, said like, she was wasted. And I think Jordan even said to Amber, like, she was wasted. So I feel like that Amber and Jordan both need work, but also I feel like that Jordan knew it was going to be a no. And it's just like, why didn't Jordan just break it off before the wedding? Because Jordan's family was very much nervous for him. And I feel like that whole time, Amber's brother was right. And I clocked it too, because I already knew that they were going to get a divorce just from what the streets were saying. Like, I already knew Amber and Jordan were getting a divorce. But honestly, like, Amber and Jordan both need help. Like, they need help with drinking, and also like them having this whole drinking problem with Imma around. Like that is just wild. That is just very wild to me. I don't know, but I feel like that any married couple, they should not be drinking like this, at least when there's a 7-year-old child around. I feel like that this whole relationship was disrespectful for Imma, and I feel like that Amber and Jordan should have never gotten casted for Love is Blind. Okay, now let's go into Ashley and Alex. Now, when it comes to Ashley and Alex, I mean, some people, like Ashley, oh my God, she's a stunning woman. I loved Ashley's dress. I feel like that Ashley was just the best dress out of everybody. But Alex is a big gaslighter. This man is a big gaslighter. I mean, the whole, like, literally, Vanessa and Nick Lachey were trying to literally ask Alex, like, if he was lying, like, his stories were not right. And the whole time, Alex was just being smart. Alex was being a smart ass, okay? And the whole time, Ashley's face was just very much shocked, okay? Her face was just shocked. The whole time, Ashley was just in disbelief. And I really love how this reunion, they really did show Alex and Devontae playing soccer. Now, I will give credit that, okay, it was a 50-50 goal. It was a 50-50 score. So, okay, yes, Alex is somewhat good at soccer, but also Alex had way too much smoke for Nick and Vanessa Lachey. And I really loved how Vanessa Lachey even told Alex, like, hey, if you would just be more honest, you would be really surprised with yourself. I really just loved that advice that Vanessa Lachey had given Alex, but Alex took no accountability this reunion. This man just straight up lied, okay? This man had no care in the world whatsoever. The whole time, I mean, like, this guy was just being he was being way too smart. He was being way too slick. Yeah, I didn't like that. Like, Alex seemed to Alex did not change. And then the fact that this man was literally wearing a shirt and pants, it was giving that he was gonna go to a McDonald's shift right after, then soccer practice right after. It was giving that he was gonna go to soccer practice right after the reunion and then a McDonald's shift as well. But Alex, like, all he did was just talk over Vanessa, talk over Nick. I'm really in just disbelief. I mean, Alex has to be the biggest villain in this season. See, at least Chris took some accountability. Alex took no accountability. I mean, this man just had no care in the world. He was very much like ditzy for Daisy. Even when Ashley was trying, like, to explain, like, why she was hurt in the relationship, he honestly didn't feel sorry at all. It was giving that Alex is a narcissist, okay? Alex is a big narcissist. He literally, like, he just thinks that nothing is his fault. And, like, okay, he took like 1% accountability when Vanessa did acknowledge that if he was just more honest, he would be more happy with himself. That was it. But other than that, I mean, Alex just thinks that he's all that. Alex is very much delusional. Alex is still a liar. Alex will be one of the most biggest gaslighters and liars of Love is Blind history, because what? I mean, at least Chris, like, told people sorry. Alex, he didn't even say sorry. All he did was just talk. That was it. All this guy did was just talk. He was just talking the whole time. I really do feel bad for Ashley. Like, Alex never made Ashley feel safe at all. I mean, and this, like, he didn't even apologize to Ashley. Like, this was way too much. Alex deserved, and also, like, the fact that none of Alex's exes spoke, it really shocked me this season. Alex does not need to be dating anybody. Alex also needs therapy, but Alex does not need to be dating nobody. Alex should never date again in his life, because if this is the way how he's acted in the reunion, imagine how he's going to be acting in relationships post-show. Like, that's not good. I really want to see what Alex has to say in interviews, but this man really just had no care in the world. I really love how Ashley, spoke about, like, her speech. I think that Ashley really ate during her speech. That would be one of the most iconic moments in Love is Blind history. I love how Ashley just ate on her speech. But Alex, this man is a big gaslighter. Now on to Emma and Mike. Okay, so I'm happy that Emma, is going to be working on herself post show. Like, I'm really happy that she wants to work on herself finally, and I'm also happy that Mike has a new girl that maybe does wants kid and actually does knows what she wants. I feel like that the whole time Emma really just pissed me off this season, because the whole time Emma did not know what she wanted. Like, this woman didn't know what she wanted. Even like Mike knew he wanted kids, but I feel like that Emma the whole time was just holding him back. And yes, Emma, she did say yes. Like, she did say yes at the altar. But I feel like that Emma, like, she did not know what she wanted, and Emma and Mike were really trying to drag out the relationship. But Mike did Emma a favor by saying no to her at the altar. But I'm happy for Mike that, like, he has a new girl. I feel like that girl is just way more mature than Emma, okay? Emma, she needs therapy too. She does not need to be dating. But, like, I feel like that if Emma was on the fence about kids, then why bring it all the way to the altar? I feel like that Emma should have, like, at least just broke it off with Mike before the altar, if, like, she was on the fence about having kids and she wasn't sure of having kids. Because kids, like, how could you compromise on kids? Like, it's just not gonna work. Like, compromising on kids, that's just not a negotiable, like, whatever. I've even seen in, like, prior seasons, or like even in other franchises where, like, people, they have, like, they're like, or I think there was one Married at First Sight season where, like, this guy, he wanted, like, kids, and then someone wanted no kids. Like, I feel like that you cannot compromise on children. You can't compromise on children. So it's just like, this relationship was never going to work. And so I feel like that the whole time Emma and Mike were just dragging out the relationship. And honestly, like, at the reunion, I'm just, like, looking at Emma like, girl, like, why did you waste this man's time? Like, she literally wasted this man's time by, like, leading him on. And then she, like, I'm just like, okay, yes, I get it. She really did fall in love with Mike. But at the same time, it's just like, girl, like, know what you want. Mike, however, I get his, honestly, respectfully, I respect Emma and Mike's decision. Mike wants kids, Emma doesn't, and Mike found someone better. I'm really happy for Mike. He found somebody, like, and honestly, I really just hope that Mike moves on from this. I really do hope that Mike, builds himself a better family when it comes to Emma now. Emma, I just hope, she gets some therapy, she works on herself, and, she's just able, to, like, reflect and finally know what she wants. And, if she doesn't want to have kids, make sure you find a man who doesn't want kids. If anything, I feel like that Emma and Jordan should have been a match, because Jordan didn't want kids, himself. He didn't want kids as well. And then also like Emma, like she didn't want kids. That would have been a good match. And I feel like that Jordan, like Emma would have been better for Jordan. I feel like that Emma would have been able to like, you know, ground Jordan as a wife. But I'm just like, what if maybe Emma and Jordan were like a match instead of Jordan and Amber? I don't know. But also I'm just like, maybe Emma would have not been physically attractive to Jordan. That's just my take right there. But yeah, honestly, yeah, Emma and Jordan respectfully, like, you know, they could go their separate ways respectfully. But yeah, they both need a lot of work on their end. Mike, not so much. I feel like that Mike, if he wants to date again, like he could date. I'm really happy that, you know, he found somebody new. I feel like I did see, you know, I did see his girlfriend, I'm gonna just say, or like the person that he was dating in the audience, and I really like her. She's way better than Emma. She's more mature than Emma. I feel like, you know, I feel like that she's more like, she just knows what she wants. She's mentally stable. I love that for Mike. And honestly, I feel like that Mike was like one of the behind Victor, Mike was like Mike was one of the good men compared to like, you know, Chris, Alex, and Devontae. But honestly, Mike, he like, I'm happy for him. Emma, respectfully, I hope she just works on herself, and yeah. Anyways, I am done with this video. This was a good reunion. It was a lot to recap, but we did it. Now I'ma just enjoy the tea because, ooh, I'm burnt out. But this was a good reunion. This was the best season. Like this season, I don't know if it topped season 1, but I do know is that this season 10, I feel like this was one of the best seasons in Love is Blind history. It was a really good season. It was even better than season 5. Okay, like I don't know, but this was a good season. I'm ready for the Boston season next. But I hope we'll get more good seasons like season 10. But this Love is Blind reunion and this Love is Blind season was the best season in Love is Blind history. Like it was good. It was good TV. It was good everything. I mean, this was a good this was one of the best reunions, okay, behind season 6 and season 1. But this was a good season. I wonder why the cast members did not get more like the women didn't get more followers. Like I'm really confused by that. But now I'm about to go watch the tea, the interviews. I don't know if I should do a video for like the interviews, but I'm gonna go watch all the tea, the juice. But make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye bye.